Okay, we're rolling. Hi, Facebook. Oops. Jimbo here. Just want to do a little talk today about, first of all, look at my shirt. Yes, that is a revolutionary Che Guevara on my shirt, and you can see that. No, I'm not a communist, and, I wear this Che Guevara shirt because I consider myself a revolutionary, though, like a conscious revolutionary of awakened consciousness. And for me, that is a three-pronged thing. It's like a stool with three prongs. The first prong, of course, is the most important thing for me. It's spirituality and, meditation and my spiritual life. It's the most important part of the stool that keeps the stool holding up. And, for religious people, it would be their prayers or, Christians and Muslims and different things. It goes through the whole spectrum. For me, it's a spirituality based on meditation and many different aspects of many different what you would consider ascended masters, like you would consider the teachings of Jesus and Buddha and all different philosophies. I've kind of pulled a lot of things together. Another thing is the second part of the stool is getting involved, action. I go to protests. I take an active involvement in issues that concern me and concern the world around me and concern the planet and, things of my interest. And the third part of the stool is being awakened. And now awakened is also part of spirituality, but the part of awakening I'm going to talk about now is the part of not believing just about everything you hear, and also doing research on your own. When you see a news story, you see something, you find interest in it, you may hear it on the mainstream media, which you won't get a lot of information. Most of the media in the United States and across the Western world now, it's not really, they don't give you the real scoop. What they do is they give you opinions and certain angles. So what you do is you find the story throughout whatever you get. Then you may want to go and you want to look through about 4 or 5 different other sources. You may get 4 or 5 different other opinions. But to form your own opinion as an awakened person, and you want to be, if you're a free thinker and you have, problem solving and you think for yourself and you don't want to be just a robotic citizen who just listens to everything the government says or the media says, you have to do a little work. I mean, you can't just sit around and eat Cheetos, watch Duck Dynasty and Honey Boo Boo. You got to get into it. You got to get your hands wet. You got to, it takes a little bit out of your life to do these kind of things. But you cannot have an informed opinion unless you get the skinny and you find out what the story is, and then you can make your opinion. And you don't take somebody else's opinion. You don't parrot what O'Reilly says, or you don't parrot what the leftists on MSNBC say. You want to have your own opinion. Sometimes they may diverge with those people, and that's fine. But if you've formed your own opinion and it's the same as theirs, it's yours and theirs. It's not theirs. Okay. One more thing I want to say is, a lot of people and a lot of my friends that are right-wingers, and I have a lot of right-wing friends and a lot of left-wing friends. I'm kind of in the middle. I'm kind of a libertarian. I believe both sides of the government are just corrupt as they can be. The money has corrupted it. We live in kind of a fascist, corporo-fascist state that we're beholden to the corporations, the banks. Our armies are sent over to the Middle East to gain these resources for these corporations and these super rich, and they tell us all this bullshit. After 9/11, we were right. We had a right to defend ourselves against the people that attacked us on 9/11. But for Americans to be so stupid to be talked into a war in Iraq, it's just pathetic that the populace is just so asleep. And to avoid that happening again, you have to have knowledge before these goes. These wars have gone on longer than any war in our history. We're spending billions, trillions of dollars on this. And a lot of my right-wing friends, they talk about, the national debt. Well, let me tell you something, buddy. The national debt that you're talking about, that you believe is being spent by our government, do you know who the money goes to? It goes to the Federal Reserve Bank of the United States. And the Federal Reserve Bank of the United States, for your information, is about as federal as FedEx. It's a private bank. It's owned by private bankers, like the Rothschilds, the Rockefellers, and other certain super rich individuals. There's about 300 families around the world that own the Federal Reserve banking system that is all across the world, not just in the United States. But in the United States is probably one of the largest, but in Europe and everything like that. Okay, and what the Federal Reserve Bank does is it prints money in the name of the United States, but it's not our money. Then they charge us interest on it. Our government floats bonds, which causes debt, and we are beholden to pay these banks the money. If you're an American citizen, you are in a form of tyranny, in a form of debt slavery. It's not the kind of slavery they had in the past. They're very smart and they realize that doesn't work. But they know that they can have debt slavery, and the people of America have not woken up and found out the biggest scam in the world is these private families that are charging us, our children, our grandchildren, interest and printing our money and charging us for our own money. It is a crime. It is treasonous to have somebody do this. We tried to take over the Federal Reserve Bank. John F. Kennedy tried to do it. He had the U.S. Bank start printing notes in 1963. And a funny thing happened. 3 months later, he was assassinated. Look it up. This really happened. And many people, will say that's a conspiracy. Well, this has happened many other times. Another president who wanted to get off federal, that was trying to fight bankers. They saw Bobby Kennedy was going to do the same thing. He ended up dead. And a lot of people that go against the Federal Reserve, they have weird accidents. It just happens. But the Federal Reserve is printing money in your name, charging you interest and your grandchildren in the future. And they are taking the money and making profits, not the government. The debt is paid to them. Okay? So that if you're bitching about the debt, start to point your finger, follow the money. It's the Federal Reserve banking system. If we could end a Federal Reserve banking system and start a U.S. bank printing our own money, a lot of our problems would go away. Another reason we're in these constant foreign wars is because these bankers, they basically set foreign policy with these things, these think tanks they've set up, like the Trilateral Commission, and there's many different think tanks, and that they set policy for the United States for like 10 years out. They set it, and then the politicians that they have, like Obama or Bush, Cheney, all these guys are just lackeys. They follow out their policies, and we send our boys off to wars. We have these foreign wars, and we are now in Central Asia, and we are getting our hands and going to be able to control all of the assets and the mineral resources and suck them dry out of there for the next century. And this is part of a project for the New American Century. Condoleezza Rice was involved, and you can read the papers. They're out there. But anyways, I just want to let you talk about debt slavery and stuff like that. If you're a right-winger, this is right up your alley, and you could join. This is where the Tea Party and the Occupy movement can come together. We know these people are thieves, and they're taking our money. And, the only way that we're going to break this system is we got to break the two-party system. You're going to have a third party come in there and bust the thing wide open. Another thing, as an awakened, conscious, kind of like revolutionary or conscious activists, we don't believe in violence of any sort. We believe that we can win our battles with our thoughts, our minds, our spirituality, throughout prayer, throughout action, throughout nonviolent protests. And as the movement gets bigger and bigger, some of us may, we may lose some of us, but we're not going to be shooting at anybody. They might be shooting at us. But we believe in nonviolent protest and action. And if you look at over the last 50 years, anytime that movements that have been, that have worked, have always been nonviolent in nature. You could take after Gandhi, Martin Luther King, all these movements. If they're nonviolent, they work. They want you to be violent. That's how they work. That's how the power elite works. So, anyways, I'm going to get off my soapbox, and I just say, everybody have a blessed day, and namaste, peace, and the middle finger. Peace out. All right? I love you. Bye-bye.